The Hebrews and Judaism, the impact of Judaism throughout the world. Judaism has survived as a religion and culture for more than 4,000 years. What was the Jewish diaspora, and how has it affected the worldwide Jewish community? The Hebrews have an ancient history. According to the Hebrew Bible, this culture began with a man named Abraham, who lived in Mesopotamia 4,000 years ago, but who moved to a land called Canaan because God had told him to. By about 900 BC, the descendants of the ancient Hebrews had become known as Jews, and their religion came to be called Judaism. Throughout their long history, people who have followed this religion have never been great in number, and they have never ruled expansive lands. Yet their beliefs and ideas have had an enormous impact on Western civilization. According to many scholars, the Hebrews were the first to practice monotheism, which is the belief in only one God. In addition, they had firm ideas about the importance of education and justice. Later, Judaism would greatly influence the world's two largest religions, Christianity and Islam. Jesus, the central figure of Christianity, was himself a Jew, and many of his teachings came from the Jewish tradition. Islam was also influenced by Judaism. Like the Jews, Muslims believe in just one God, whom they call Allah. In addition, Muslims, Christians, and Jews all regard Abraham, the first Hebrew, as the originator of their faith. The Hebrews lived in Israel for many hundreds of years with great kings like Saul, David, and Solomon to lead them, and a great temple in Jerusalem to worship God. But in 586 BC, that all changed. That year, the Babylonians conquered the Jews, destroyed their temple, and took many of them to their capital, Babylon, to work as slaves. This period of exile is known as the Babylonian captivity, and marks the beginning of what scholars call the Jewish diaspora, or scattering. The Jews became a people without a homeland, and yet over hundreds of years, they found homes throughout much of the world, scattering across the Mediterranean, Mesopotamia, and Europe, and much later, the Americas. Although Jews and their culture spread throughout the Western world, they were not always welcome among non-Jewish peoples. Many of their encounters were harsh and tragic. In Spain during the Middle Ages, thousands of Jews were burned at the stake during the Spanish Inquisition. In Russia during the late 1800s, Jews were massacred and many were forced to leave the country. And in Germany, in the early 1940s, the Jews were subject to one of the worst atrocities in human history when Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party tried to extinguish the entire European Jewish population. An estimated 6 million Jews lost their lives during the Holocaust. After World War II ended with the defeat of the Nazis, a movement to re-establish a Jewish state in the Middle East gained momentum. This led in 1948 to the founding of the modern nation of Israel. Unfortunately, the establishment of Israel on land that was occupied by the Palestinian Arabs has been accompanied by much conflict. Finding a solution to this conflict remains one of the world's most difficult challenges. Despite their many hardships, Jews have maintained a sense of identity and community. Their culture has produced countless scientists, professors, politicians, entertainers, authors, and artists. Of the more than 6 billion people living in the world today, only about 14 million are Jewish. That's just 0.2%. The vast majority live in the United States and Israel, and the rest continue to be scattered across the world. But though they continue to be small in number, their contributions to society, past and present, are immeasurably large, which is one reason why Judaism continues to be one of the world's great religions.